Chair, we do have the parliamentary streaming services on the platform, and we just have one other person
Recording
that
in
joined.
progress.
I've opened up, but we've sent out messages to all the relevant platforms indicating that the meeting has now been reopened. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Let's welcome back all those that have not been part of the meeting. Media, fellow South Africans who are following the deliberations of this committee, the platforms provided by Parliament. As committed before, we closed the meeting, having listened to the request of the SABC Board. We are now back to give the summary as we indicated. First and foremost, I want to
Chair,
because of our understanding.
Sorry, Chair. I'm not sure if it's my side, but I'm not sure if it's from my side, but I missed the last few comments you've made. So I'm not sure if it's other members missed you as well, then I might need to switch off your video so that your bandwidth is not affected. Thanks, Chair.
May I just check with other members if that's the same, so that I know that the problem is on my side?
Yes, Chair, we better also hear parts of your commentary.
Okay, I've not seen on my side. Let me then, yeah, you can try and switch off the camera.
Chair, I think you can proceed because now we are hearing you clearly. Then if the problem comes, then I'll just switch you off from my side. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. As I said, I'm not sure, maybe I'll just briefly go back. I think the point I was making, having welcomed you back, it's really to indicate that all the efforts that are being made is based on an understanding that from reports that have been presented, both in the open and the closed session, it's an understanding that the SABC, from the point of the financial pillar, isn't done it for assistance. And therefore, in that closed session, were presented with an interim measure, what the board chair would have termed the stopgap measure, not really being presented with a 5-year turnaround strategy that the board has put together. That turnaround strategy is yet to be concluded by the end of November this year, after all the consultations would have been made. And it will also come before this committee, and fellow South Africans will therefore know what is that plan for the next 5 years. However, because the challenges are in the current, and therefore certain measures need to be taken. And those measures are from a revenue side of things. And these measures are taken to ensure that the SABC is able to function, deliver on the programs, including ensuring that at no time, you would say, they are unable to even pay the basics like salaries and so on. So that's the understanding we have. And amongst those plans, indeed, what is clear is that others would border on commercial interest in terms of commercial contracts that they need to handle. And those commercial contracts may involve even competitors in the market who may not have a similar opportunity like they would have had to voice out their challenges with such and so on, hence the closed session. So we've noted also that some of those would be matters that are before other tribunals or entities or regulators that need to resolve on them. But we do appreciate that in some instances, there have been agreements on those so that South Africans who use such platforms to access the services of the SABC are still able to do so, whilst other matters of commercial in nature are still resolved. Of course, amongst the proposals that are looked at is to really how to leverage from the coverage they have in different regions and how to maximize that space. Spends more on ensuring that we do get the news. One of the things is to really look at how that strength gets to be used as part of ensuring sustainability of the SABC. Of course, there would be matters that will still persist. One of those that come out quite clear being the Centec situation, given the outcomes of the first round of the Competitions Commission, which has not been favorable to the SABC. But these are matters that the two boards now have to handle and provide solutions on in a way that is mutually beneficial to both entities, as we would also want to see the SABC delivering on the mandate, including the coming elections without signal distribution challenges. So those are matters that both the department and the entities would be looking at. Of course, the issue of the analog switch off, as already raised in the previous discussion, was also an issue. But in that regard, the SABC would be using the extension given by the Minister for the lower bands to ensure that it keeps the customers and whilst at the same time taking advantage of the digital migration in this regard. Of course, without getting into details, in essence, it has made those projections with an understanding, as I said, that some, based on agreements concluded, they will be able to yield the results as we are about to finish the term. They will be able to extract value from those in a way that helps to stabilize the current situation, whilst they will be presenting a long term. I must also place it on record that generally from the side of the committee, we've made it very clear that any action that gets taken commercial or otherwise, it has to still be done within the confines of the law, so that there are no problems going into the future. But of course, matters that relates to legislation and regulation would have to be dealt with by the relevant bodies, legislation, in this case, the SABC bill, that Parliament would have to fast track that, as it will also seek to address some of the challenges that relates to the funding model of the SABC, as there was also a strong view, I think, amongst the members that we really need to look at how the state also looks at the funding of the public mandate in particular, so that it doesn't really depend on commercial interests that are the current situation we find ourselves in, where the funding mostly would come from adverts and so on, which will also, in a way, as they look at monetizing even the strength that they have with news, that if that was to be done, care should also be given to the fact that commercial interests should also not impact on editorial approaches and so on. And then, of course, on the side of the regulator, look at whether the regulations do not need to be reviewed where necessary, but where they've been reviewed, that they are enforced in a way that helps the SABC not to close shop at some point. The point that I may just need to stamp on before I close on the matter, it's really that before the meeting, we would have placed on record the objection of the Democratic Alliance on the meeting being closed. And of course, in the deliberations, as part of the summary, we're also recording that the Democratic Alliance would have also raised reservations with some of the proposals that are made, and would want that to be placed on record in terms of concerns that they have. But generally, there was engagement by all members in a way to try and find solutions to the challenges that the SABC is experiencing currently. And I'm emphasizing the point, whilst we are also waiting to see the actual turnaround strategy, which will be concluded by end of November, also linked that to the earlier announcement that will also be scheduling the SABC at some point to finally receive also its corporate plan, so that we do our oversight from a point of understanding where they are going. That's really the summary of the discussion we've had, and we thought we should still take some of that into confidence on that. And we think if the SABC gets the support on a number of the proposals that they've given, including from the side of the department in terms of its programs that contribute towards a sustainable SABC, that we make sure that happens. Thanks, honorable members. I take it that I've represented yourselves well, balancing all the discussions we had.
We did well, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Of course, I will then check with the committee support if there is any other item before we remind members of the other program of the subcommittee. May I just check?
No further items, Chairperson.
If there are no further items, as we move towards closure, I would want Stengoma, if you can just once again confirm, and if Mr. Fox is still on the platform, also confirm logistics for members for the coming subcommittee and committee meeting.
Everything good afternoon. I think from my side, Chair, I can just report that indeed the committee is scheduled for a physical sitting on Friday, starting with the subcommittee on MDDA from 10 to 11, and then it's the subcommittee on ICASA Council from 11 to 12, which will then be followed by a full committee from 12 o'clock until 1 o'clock. I am aware that Mr. Foss has been in contact with members since yesterday in terms of discussing travel logistics in relation to that meeting. But I see it's off the platform now, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you, Stengoma. And thank you, honorable members. Of course, then this takes us to the end of our meeting. I must really thank you for doing your duty, even when we have extended the days as per your request, to have a bit of time to discuss matters that come from the different entities, given the number of entities that are in the portfolio. I'm still looking forward to robust engagements as we will be getting into details with some of the entities that we have called back. And I'm sure members would remember we still have an appointment with the Postbank, still have an appointment with the SAPO, as well as CETA. And I'm sure members will be well prepared. We do see already in social media some photos of protests in some of our agencies. I think it was a CETA one that I saw in relation to what the workers perceive to be happening in the space. And I think we should engage these issues to give certainty to people that these entities would be able to deliver on their mandate. With that, honorable members, the meeting stays adjourned until we meet on Friday. Thank you.
Thank you, Makosonge.
Hey, listen, you're awake. You're awake today. It's good.